There are moments in life when a man realizes that what he carries inside him is not just fluid, but concentrated power. Sperm is not an accident of biology. It is the most nutrient-rich substance the body creates, holding minerals, proteins, and life, carrying codes that demand respect. When it is constantly lost, so too is a man's clarity, discipline, and drive. But when it is retained, a shift occurs. The same faculties that govern control, focus, and command begin to sharpen, as though the body and mind remember their original design. Retention does not just preserve energy, it activates the machinery of higher control, allowing a man to act with precision instead of impulse. This is why those who practice it often speak of heightened presence. Their biology is no longer working against them, it is working for them. The most shocking part of retention is not what it withholds, but what it releases in return. As days turn into weeks, a man begins to sense a growing current of control flowing through him. A control that is not fragile, but rooted in strength. This state has been described across history as the essence of peak masculine power, a condition where discipline feels natural and authority radiates without effort. Retention feeds this condition because the very energy once scattered now circulates within, amplifying clarity and self-command. It is in this state that men notice something startling. They no longer chase respect, they project it. Their presence shifts from ordinary to commanding, as if the world itself recognizes the difference. The question that lingers is how far this power could carry a man who refuses to waste it. Section 1: Olfactory Shift. One of the strangest effects of retention is that it changes the way you are sensed before you even speak. Biology has its own language, and scent is one of its oldest. When a man holds his seed, his hormonal balance shifts. Testosterone rises, cortisol lowers, and the body begins producing a cleaner, more potent chemical signature. This is not something you spray on or wash away. It is generated at the core of your being. Sweat itself takes on a different profile, one that others may not consciously recognize, but their nervous systems do. They lean in closer, feel alert around you, or simply can't explain why your presence feels heavier and more magnetic. Anthropologists have long noted how pheromones influence attraction, dominance, and even group hierarchy. In ancient tribes, the man who carried the scent of vitality was the one who gained trust and status without asking. Retention replicates this process in the modern world. When energy is conserved, the body broadcasts signals of strength through pheromones. It is biology advertising resilience and fertility at the highest level. The people around you register this on a subconscious level. They feel something commanding without being able to explain it. Where others may overcompensate with words or appearance, you project power before you move a muscle. This shift is not about attraction alone. It is about influence. Business partners, strangers, and even rivals respond differently when they sense biological vitality. In a competitive world, presence is half the battle, and presence begins with signals the body cannot fake. Retention aligns those signals so that every handshake, every conversation, and every silent glance carries weight. People may say they respect your words, but what they are really responding to is the unspoken proof that your body is operating at full command. They are not reacting to performance. They are reacting to biology. The suspense lies in realizing how much of social power is dictated not by effort, but by signals no one talks about. Men who dissipate their energy unknowingly weaken the very scent that projects confidence and authority. Men who retain sharpen it until it becomes an invisible advantage. You are no longer trying to persuade others to see your value. Their biology is persuaded before their minds can catch up. This is the quiet shift that makes the difference between blending in and radiating an aura others cannot ignore. Section 2: Pulse stability. The heart is more than a pump. It is a signal tower that broadcasts your state of being to everyone around you. Stress scatters that signal, quickening the pulse and making the body feel restless, unstable, and easy to read. Retention, however, begins to restore balance to the autonomic system, the part of the nervous system that governs heartbeat, breath, and calm under pressure. Over time, men who practice it notice that their resting pulse slows, their heart rate steadies, and their inner rhythm becomes harder to disturb. This shift is not just physical. It radiates outward, changing the way others experience your presence. Ancient warriors trained to control their breath before battle because they knew that the heart reveals fear even when the face hides it. Retention carries a similar effect. By conserving vital energy, the nervous system adapts to stability rather than constant fluctuation. The heart no longer leaps with every spike of adrenaline, but beats in a measured cadence, as if trained to ignore chaos. Those around you sense this even before they consciously recognize it. A steady pulse transmits confidence more effectively than words, because people instinctively trust those who remain calm when pressure mounts. Modern psychology calls this coherence, the alignment between heart rhythms, brain signals, and emotional states. Retention strengthens this coherence by training the body to operate with balance instead of depletion. The result is a man who doesn't fidget in silence, who doesn't collapse under tension, and who doesn't need to force composure. His stability is biological, not performative. This is why he becomes an anchor in the rooms. While others spiral into stress responses, his system remains unshaken, steady, and in control. It is difficult to ignore someone whose very pulse feels like a grounding force. History remembers leaders who carried this aura. Generals who stood calm on the battlefield, kings who sat unmoved in the face of chaos, negotiators whose silence rattled opponents more than threats ever could. Their power did not come from volume, but from stability. Retention feeds that same stability today. The steadier your pulse, the more others unconsciously calibrate to your rhythm, finding themselves unsettled by their own nervousness compared to your calm. Without saying a word, you dominate the emotional landscape of the room. The suspense lies in what this means for influence. If a calm, steady pulse can anchor a group, then the man who masters retention is not just stable within himself. He becomes a regulator of others. Stress bends around him, tension struggles to find purchase, and even those who wish to oppose him feel the weight of his steadiness. Section 3. Thermal steadiness. The body is a messenger, and one of the most revealing signals it gives off is heat. Stress has a way of showing itself through flushed skin, sudden sweating, or small shifts in body temperature that betray inner chaos. Even when a man keeps his words calm, the body leaks the truth through these thermal fluctuations. Retention changes this at a fundamental level. By balancing the nervous system and conserving vital energy, the body learns consistency under pressure. The flush of anxiety no longer surfaces so easily, and the nervous sweating that gives away unease begins to fade. What emerges instead is steadiness, a kind of thermal calm that others register instinctively. Ancient practices like meditation, martial arts, and ascetic discipline often included control over body heat. From Tibetan monks who sat in freezing conditions without shivering, to warriors who stayed still in sweltering climates without breaking, the mastery of temperature has always been linked to mastery of self. Retention functions in the same way, training the body to remain thermally balanced when the world tries to disturb it. The man who practices it doesn't flush at confrontation or sweat nervously when questioned. He radiates a kind of equilibrium that is difficult to rattle. Even if no one names it, they feel it, and it changes how they respond. In social and professional spaces, this steadiness becomes a powerful advantage. People are attuned to micro, signals more than they realize. A face that doesn't heat under pressure, hands that don't grow clammy in tense moments, and skin that doesn't betray panic. These are subtle cues that broadcast authority. Retention strengthens the internal wiring that keeps these signals under control, making your presence feel composed, even when stakes are high. Others might not consciously analyze why, but they sense that you don't fold where most men do. That difference creates an aura of reliability and dominance.